It has been 453 days since now 16-year-old Sebastian Rogers vanished from his home in Hendersonville. His disappearance sparked national headlines, but now his father says the case is losing momentum. With National Missing Children's Day coming up on Sunday, he is raising his voice and demanding urgency. News 2's Caitlin.
I went and talked to neighbors, and every single one of them, every single one welcomed me. And if they had video surveillance, they gave it to me. The only person that would not talk to me as the only person that had something to hide and wouldn't talk to me. You know, she has a son that's hiding and waiting for somebody in the dark, late night on the 25th. And there needs to be some explaining for that. I'll just leave it at that.
That we are going to keep searching, we are going to keep looking, we are going to find him, and we are going to bring him home.
Since we first aired the video last month, authorities have said
no evidentiary value?
It is of no evidentiary value. It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No.
Why?
Because the investigation remains ongoing.
Yeah, I'm working on behalf of Sebastian. I am not, my client is Sebastian, and they're the guardians that have the ability to sign.
It just started. Hi Dad, I know this is gonna sound weird, but tomorrow's picture day. So could you send some decent clothes over to me so that I can wear the decent clothes and be handsome for my birthday with decent clothes? Mom.
Because our heart is missing. He is my world. I need him. I need him back with me.
All right, welcome everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Happy New Year. More things have been discovered, and we have some updates as well. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. I'm going to leave this quote up here for just a minute. I think it's a very impactful quote. Those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it. Jonestown. All right, how is everybody doing? As always, God bless you guys for the amazing love and support you guys show. Like I said, discovered some new stuff. Trying to get back to people's emails, but whenever I find something new, that takes top priority because I have to isolate it, make sure whatever I think I've discovered is something and not just, some kind of pixel or light that's just getting flickered off and on. And then if it is something, then I have to isolate it, figure out the best I can to where it's at. And then, of course, put that together and then send that over to my contact, which then sends it over to law enforcement. So, but it just keeps adding to the pieces of puzzle that are whatever's going on the night before and the night that he went missing. There's so much going on. There's just no way all this is just one big coincidence. There's just way too much at this point. And now it's almost to the point where it's just trying to kind of piece them together, like what are they doing? And so part of that, we'll do that today. Of course, we'll show the new stuff, and then kind of try to break it down and see what you guys think. But again, thank you as always for the love and support. So quickly, just for case anybody that hasn't been up to date with what's going on, I have just a 4-minute recap that I'll quickly play. And then we'll get into it. So I will just put this full screen real quick just to play a quick little recap. And then here we'll break down what we discovered. So thank you as always. Here we go.
One night before, 15-year-old autistic teen, Sebastian Rogers, suspiciously disappeared. Approximately 500 yards away, just beyond the construction site, a bright light was captured on surveillance. Figure out what was this light, where it was coming from, and how it connected to Roger's disappearance. And what we found will absolutely shock you.
Come down to where I'm sitting right here. So watch this. Of course, when my light's off, you can't see anything. If I turn my lights on, I can see just graves and grass. But imagine for a moment that somebody was there and said, hey, I can't see. Turn your high beams on. Of course, it opens up the whole area. I see more. And what do I see? The monument. And they're telling me they can see it on the camera, just like the footage we've been looking at. Boom!
Sebastian Rogers was last physically seen on camera leaving the Texas Roadhouse with his mother Katie Proudfoot on Feb 25th. Whether he actually made it home that night is highly debated, but what I have recently discovered on surveillance from a nearby camera in Rogers' neighborhood could hold the answers to what may have happened to Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian Rogers' home is located here. The surveillance camera that captured the suspicious activity is located approximately here, with 2 cameras pointed towards the east, overlooking the construction site and further. The suspicious activity seen on these cameras took place here at this cemetery and also school. Just after this suspicious light illuminates for approximately 6 minutes, a little before 3:30 a.m. At 3:32, a headlight of a vehicle can be seen moving south in the cemetery. This would not be the only vehicle seen that night. Another vehicle is seen at 3:45, and just 4 minutes later, another headlight is seen at 3:49. Although there is 2 cameras that overlook the entrance to the church and cemetery, as of now, there is no sign of these vehicles seen, entering or exiting, the only main entrance to the south. On the night Sebastian Rogers disappeared, the suspicious light can be seen again at around 3:40 a.m. It is illuminated for around 6 minutes, just like on the 25th. Then after it's done being illuminated, minutes later, multiple vehicles can be seen, driving in the cemetery and at the school. Once again, more suspicious activity the night Rogers went missing. So what is the object that is being illuminated for around 6 minutes on the 25th and 26th, and how could it be connected to Sebastian Rogers' disappearance? Here is a daytime shot from the surveillance camera where you can see the construction site. It is also overlaid with the nighttime shot of the suspicious light source. You can see how the suspicious light is just beyond the construction site in the cemetery. As Silver's on the scene, drives through the cemetery, you can see that the construction site is to his left. As he continues north, he is now in the middle of the cemetery, approaching a loop. As he turns right, you will notice what they call lumbrium. This object is made out of highly reflective material, like concrete, granite, and marble. This memorial also sits at a slight tilt when viewing from the east, just like the objects seen in the surveillance footage. Notice both objects are rectangular in shape. As you can see here, this memorial has no artificial lighting, not in the front or the back, so whatever caused this to be illuminated at 3 a.m. on the 25th and 26th had to have come from another light source, but what? The obvious answer would be headlights from a vehicle, but what we discovered about this answer would prove to be quite disturbing and shocking.
Okay, that is... Excuse me. So sorry. That is just a quick little recap of everything, just in case if you missed it. Let me fix this real quick. Is it Chrissy that had that question about the van and stuff? I think it is a valid question, and I think it's definitely a valid theory. And I can promise you it is being looked into very heavily. So many angles are being looked at. So, you know, I have my kind of corner that I'm looking into, obviously. But there's many other people out there that are following up on different leads. So that's what's so amazing is community come together and, you know, trying to keep an open mind on every kind of possibility that could have happened to Sebastian Rogers. And eventually one of these threads that we're pulling on will eventually, you know, have a domino effect. So, all right, before I show the new stuff, gosh, I got like something right in the back of my throat, of course. I've seen some people, you know, question, you know, is this the columbrium that's being lit up? And I just wanted to show a daytime to nighttime in a different setting here. You can actually see the columbrium in the daytime shot of this surveillance. It is right there. You can actually see part of the black. You'll see here in a second a side view or a close-up of it on the right. But here as I fade into the nighttime, you can see that is the thing being lit up. So that is the columbrium. And here we'll even zoom in a little bit closer. You can see it pretty well, actually, for how far away it is. And there it is. That is the columbrium during the daytime. You got a tree that's kind of blocking part of it, but you can see the side face of the cement here, and you can actually see a little bit of the marble or whatever this. Again, I'm no masonry, but you can kind of see the front of it a little bit. Obviously, we would have it. I think Silvers took this picture. If this is a screenshot, if whoever took this was standing a little bit more to the right, or it was more side face, and just a little bit of the front was being viewed, it would look just like that. And that is obviously from our perspective, from the security footage, what we see. So yes, that is the Columbrium that is being lit up. It's not a tail light, and it is not in the construction zone. But I just wanted to show that. Also, thanks to is it Bugsby? Sent me these photos. This was so awesome. Because I knew this thing was probably fairly tall, but it's much taller than I thought it was, which makes a lot of sense for why we see it so far away when it's being illuminated. So this thing's what, 10 to 12 feet tall, somewhere around in there. I don't know if anybody knows the exact dimensions, but and I would guess at least 3 to 4 feet wide. But yeah, that thing is tall, much taller than I thought. I knew it was, at least 6-7 feet tall when I first kind of just saw pictures of it, but now seeing somebody standing in front of it tells me that thing is big, much bigger than I originally thought it was. Leah Cash says, bring Sebastian home 2026. Thank you, Chris, for never giving up. Oh, that is so awesome. Thank you so much. Oh, is there? Now, I will say this, Kiki. It is, because people have spoken, we had a group that spoke with the maintenance guy / the grave digger that does the upkeep and everything else. Very, very friendly. And obviously, it's not unheard of to have piles of fresh dirt, because obviously when they'd prepare a new grave, they've got to take dirt out, and then they put it out in certain areas. But I don't know if they have specific areas that they try to keep it at. I've heard that they try, sometimes you would normally see it, if I recall. Hopefully I get this right. If I recall, typically the dirt would be placed over here. But obviously we've seen dirt over here, little dirt piles here, and then I think we've even seen dirt piles over here. So I don't know if there's a specific area that they do it, or it depends on convenience. But I know there's somebody that knows probably a little bit more that I'd have to speak to. I forget all the details they told me, but anyway, so. But it is, good to keep an eye out for that thing, for sure. Thank you, Kiki. Oh, Saucy. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe is it temporarily that they put it there, or maybe something else? I mean, that's a good eye, Kiki. If it is, I'll have to kind of look at the aerial footage. I'll write that down.
Seen here is another daytime shot, overlaid with nighttime, where you can see the memorial to the right, and in the yellow box is where we see headlights from a vehicle. But what's interesting is the fact that the vehicle seen at 3:45 a.m. has its headlights facing west on a part of the road that goes north and south. Also, this vehicle appears to be in the middle of the loop on the west end of the cemetery in this location. Shown here is the exact location the headlights were seen. Notice how the road isn't very wide. I also figured out that
that is not a bad idea, Crazy Buck, but the pond is lower, so you have ground that's a little bit higher above it, right? That pond that's in the cemetery. So you have ground that's above it, and then the pond's kind of a little bit lower. So unless you had something that's like high up beaming down, because yes, water is a good, obviously an obvious, obviously. Do you understand that? There will be a test. Clearly, water is reflective, but yeah, I think you would need something that would be very high up. So I don't think so in this scenario, but that's not a bad, thought. Veronica, thank you, Chris, and everyone working to find Sebastian. Thank you so much, Veronica. God bless you.
Headlights captured at 3:45 and 3:49 a.m. are at two different heights seen here. Notice when putting a static line in same spot, one light is higher up than the other one, meaning there were at least two different vehicles driving around the cemetery on the night before Sebastian Rogers disappeared on the 25th. So what were they doing, and how did the memorial site light up?
There it is.
So I'm just going to play this for a second and then reveal the new stuff. This just everything kind of lines up. So there's a reason I'm playing part of this right now. But here in about 3 minutes, I'll show you the new stuff.
What do you see now?
During the control tests, Silvers on the scene and others tried many different things to illuminate the memorial in the same way we saw it on surveillance. But every test, including driving next to it, parking near it, using headlights and other objects such as flashlights, just would not create that same illumination effect until on day 2, Silvers on the scene did this.
Okay, to document where I'm at, come in the cemetery this way, go around, it loops around. I took the turn right here and
During Silver's control test, he parked on the west end, in the middle of the loop, seen here on this map. He had turned his car towards the memorial. When doing this, he figured he would try and turn on his high beams as nothing so far had worked up to this point. Upon doing this, he illuminated the memorial just as it was seen in the surveillance. Here was his reaction.
Okay, to document where I'm at, come in the cemetery this way, go around, it loops around. I took the turn right here and I've come down to where I'm sitting right here. So watch this. Of course, when my light's off, you can't see anything. If I turn my lights on, I can see just graves and grass. But imagine for a moment that somebody was there and said, hey, I can't see. Turn your high beams on. Of course, it opens up the whole area. I see more. And what do I see? The monument. And they're telling me they can see it on the camera, just like the footage we've been looking at. Boom!
Oh!
This spot Silvers is sitting at is the same spot where the two vehicles seen on the 25th were exactly positioned. And what's even more crazy is the fact that one of the vehicles at 3:45 a.m. appeared to have come out of the gravesite in that same spot Silvers was parked, as if they had been backed in. Then
excuse me. There's a reason, like I said, I'm playing this part because this is the 25th, this is the night before, and this will kind of add into everything else that we have found on the 25th, because there is more, which we'll play here in just a minute. And Gail, thank you so much. She says, thank you for your continuous hard work, Chris. Thank you so much, Gail, for the love and support. Means the world to me.
Pulled out and turned south.
Okay, so here is the newly discovered thing, and this one's very, I mean, it's all interesting, of course, but this one, again, this is why the footage is so hard to decipher, and I've had a lot of people point out things, and they think they see things, and maybe they do, and it's, I'm trying to vet everything, because there's definitely things that go off that, flicker, but they're just, again, they're just flickering because either there's wind or something. But anyway, I had seen this one before, but I thought it was a house light. You're going to see here in just a second. But I went back yesterday and noticed, well, I did some digging into it and discovered that, no, this isn't a house, because there wouldn't be a house where this is coming from. So here we are. This is the 25th. Note the time. It is 3:23. That is very important. We'll come back to that. But notice the time here, as we're going to reach 3:24 on the dot, and look what happens here in the yellow square box. We have about, appears to be kind of a rectangular light that appears. Now again, I'd seen this before, and if you look at these other lights, right, it kind of resembles the same. And so I thought, okay, maybe this is just a house light coming on, and this is kind of at the corner and in the new development, right? I originally thought it was, like this house right here lighting up, but that is not the case. So as you see, it's kind of fast forward a little bit. It started at 3:24, almost right on the dot. And as you'll see, as it hits 3:26, it fades out. So we have this light almost 2 minutes exactly, and we don't ever see it again. I've scanned through a couple of different hours and never see it ever again. So here's a daytime shot, and I'm going to do 2 different daytime shots nighttime to kind of give you an idea of where this is actually coming from and how I kind of figured out why this is definitely not coming from the new development, and this is actually coming from the cemetery. And then you add on what time this is going on, then it gets really interesting. So there's one kind of daytime to nighttime overlay. But this next one will kind of give you a really good idea of where it's at. And it is very fascinating. Along with the time that this thing happens. So there it is. Once again, just kind of fast forward. And so what I did is I took the home here, because we can see these 2 homes. And obviously I just took the position of the home, right, the back end of it, and I just used, because obviously homes are going to be built in right angles, right, and we just use basic geometry, and just draw a straight line out, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And this light is clearly to the left of it, and I'll show you the home. And but remember these 2 homes here. And so as you can see, here's the corner home, the closest one. And then here's the second home here. And we can see the back of it right here. Of this home. Actually, it's right here. And if we do this, there's that home. And if we just drew a straight line, then we can get an idea of where it's at. And clearly this light is to the left of it, meaning that is not in the new development. Which means it is near the cemetery, or in the cemetery, but it's also near one of the retention ponds, which is very interesting. So not to get confused, there's basically 2 retention ponds in the new development. There's the square one. I call it the square one, the one that Max went into. This one here, which is in the middle of the new development. Max went into this one. We've seen it on camera. I've shown it. Then we have what I call the triangle retention pond, which borders the cemetery here. There's the fence line for it right here. And that light source is literally coming from right here. And then guess what? The columbarium is right here, about 300 feet away. But just to add a little bit more, I'll show another daytime overlay where you can really see it, and you can tell that this is definitely Not in the new development, and I'll show you why here in just a second. So here's another daytime shot, right? Like I said, there's that house. Remember, here's the closest house, but this is the house that we're using the, the geometry, the right angle. We take a line, we draw it out. We know that that has to be to the left of it. And check this out. The road that would become, oh shoot, I forget the road name. We'll see it here in just a minute. It's not Willow Bend, it's the one that goes north to south. So there's a vehicle, and that's going to turn into a road. Now that is driving right in front of the triangle retention pond. I think they searched all the ponds. Clearly, I just showed photos of them at the pond at the cemetery. They dove it. So I'm assuming if they dove the cemetery pond and they did the one at the retention and drained that one, I'd assume, they had at least did this other retention pond. But you never know. They could have always missed something. But yeah, this gets really fascinating. Wait till you see the timing of everything. Then it's really going to blow your mind. We're just getting started. Hearts from Julie says, "Hi Chris, thank you for all your dedication and persistence in search for the find Sebastian. Thank you so much, Julie. It means the world to me. Yes, I am tenacious and stubborn. Most of the time, it's a good thing when it comes to this kind of work. But yeah." I've actually heard they never actually dove into that to check it, allegedly. The triangle one? Because clearly they dove into the one at the cemetery because we see them with the gear. I don't know until we see, footage. I mean, obviously we know they drained the square one. What they did, the triangle one, yeah, honestly, until I see, like photo proof, I would think, if they did the square one and the one in the cemetery, I don't know why they wouldn't have done the triangle one. But again, I don't know. So we see that vehicle drive, right? This area, kind of keep your eye here, but notice we saw this vehicle drive. Actually, let me just back this up so I can do this without stopping it. So let me just let that play again. Notice this vehicle driving here. Because that is what will become one of the roads that go north or south. I forget the name of it. It's kind of a weird name. There's Katie. What's she doing? Katie, get your window down. What are you doing, Katie? What are you doing with your windows up? I don't know, Katie. Sorry, oops. So anyway, that's this road here, which eventually, I guess it is Willow Bend. It's another road that, it's up further. That's the other one. Okay, so yeah, this is Willow Bend. So that vehicle that you're seeing driving, that's basically what would turn into Willow Bend. And there's a reason why I'm showing that, because I'm going to show an overlay here in just a minute. Katie, what are you doing? But that light source is definitely coming, somewhere in this area here. Obviously, I can't get it down to the foot, the feet, whatever. But I can get it pretty close. And the columbrium is within 300 feet, give or take, kind of depending on where that light is. But it is around this area. So I'll show you one other thing, and then wait until you see the timing of this. Here's another thing that's very fascinating. So these are two. This is the 25th. This is the new light I'm showing you. And I'm mixing it in with the 26th where that car leaves the cemetery. It is a little hard to see, especially now that I'm overlaying two. So it's, but I'm just showing you where the road is basically and where the light is. And let me just play this first here. And again, you're going to kind of see the light right there. And I'll show you which road that is. And then, of course, there that is right there. Where are you, little bugger? There it is again. It's kind of slowed down. But obviously, it follows this path. And I'll show you that road. And then notice where this light is. And here's a negative, which actually kind of helps sometimes, especially with the 25th or the 26th car on the church. Let me pause it, and I'll show you guys kind of what we're looking at. Let me get rid of that. Actually, you know what? Let me put that back on. That kind of helps. So what we're looking at, in a nutshell, is we're seeing that car drive up this, right? And that light is, somewhere right here. Hopefully that makes sense. So that vehicle that we see, notice how I've kind of got it up at an angle. Oops. And if I had the 3D, unfortunately this 3D part doesn't work. If I do it in 3D, then all the trees pop up and we're not going to be able to see this road properly. But this road kind of elevates, right? And so that makes sense as to why we see that car drive up. And that light source, remember, we're kind of looking like this. So that light source, again, is about somewhere in the cemetery, not far from the retention pond and not far from the columbarium, which is very important. And thank you, Kiki, so much. Passion, I love your passion. Just try to use a different word than what you used, so you don't get your comment blocked. Just try not to be as descriptive. Okay, make it easier on my mods because they don't want to block people. Anyway, or delete a comment, I should say. So again, let's see if I can find it here. Again, because I'm overlaying the two videos, so it's harder to see the vehicle. It's going to be kind of a black dot, kind of strong. Oh, there it is right here. I think. Yeah, it just went by. But I just wanted to give you guys an idea of where the road is through these trees, and then where that light is, showing you that it's just a little bit below it, but we know it's just above it, so it's kind of just like I said earlier, kind of like that, except we're just kind of viewed a little bit more to the north, looking east, almost a little southeast a little bit. So now, if that wasn't interesting enough, let's look at the timing of when this happens, because as crazy as that thing is, just where it's at, it's kind of interesting. It's close to the retention pond. What are they doing there? Then we have the timing of it and what else happens during that time. And that's where it gets really fascinating. So what I've got is I've got it pretty much lined up as close as I could down to the second, as you can see. On the left is this new light that we discovered that's somewhere in the cemetery close to that triangle retention pond. And on the right is the columbarium on the 25th. Obviously, all of this is the day before. And notice what happens when it hits 3:24. So timers are set up pretty close as I could get them. And what are the odds that at 324, I know 323, the columbrium kind of starts to kind of slowly get a little bit illuminated, but it doesn't really start to appear until 324. 324, this starts to illuminate, and so does the columbrium. What are the odds of that? Honestly. Hey, Jack Lady, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. I know you followed this channel for a long time, and I know you got your own channel and doing stuff, and I hope you are doing well, and Happy New Year to you. But yeah, is that wild that that lights up almost the same exact time as the columbrium, and they're within 300 feet of each other? So to me, again, there could be many possibilities. One of the first things that comes to mind, is this a scout? Is this a signal? Is this a person? I'll do an overhead view of everything here in just a minute, but it is so interesting that those start up at about the same time, and they're not far from each other. Leah, I've shown that. You're talking about the 3 a.m. flashlights, right? Now, of course, we don't know 100%. We know, we could say at best between 3:03 and 3:20 a.m. is about when the 3 a.m. flashlights happen. We don't know like the exact time. If I get my hands on a certain video, which is certainly possible, it could happen any day, then I will be able to tell you guys exactly that time. But for right now, we just kind of say 3:10 a.m. for now. So when you're talking about the 26th, it's only, I mean, these people could already been in the cemetery while that was going on, to be honest with you. But the columbrium lights up about 20 minutes after the 3 a.m. flashlight. So yeah, again, that's too many coincidences so close together. If I see somebody walking, it'd have to be very close to the camera. This is 10 to 12 foot tall. So if there was a human walking, unless they had a giant spotlight on them, it'd be impossible to see them. It's just too dark, too far away. Again, if they're walking around with a flashlight, it's possible. Does this light happen on the 26th? Not that I know of. I'm still finding stuff every day. So, tomorrow, Monday, I will not be surprised if I have something else new for you guys. There's always, and there is stuff that I have found. I have to do what I did here and isolate it and make sure it's not, just something natural where it appears to be something, but it's just, the wind blowing, in front of the lights and causing them to flicker and what have you. So, it's a work in progress. But right now, this is the 25th. This is, was.
Before we...
But yeah, that is wild, again. And we'll come back to this. We're going to do an overview of this from top down on that. But let's do the 26th because that's funny. That people are asking about the 26th. And so let's play that right now.
Before we put all the pieces together, let's go over the night of the 26th. Sometime around 3:10 a.m., the suspicious flashlights in Rogers' neighborhood are seen along with an unknown vehicle doing a 3-point turn. Not long after, activity at the cemetery begins to happen, where we see the memorial light up again for 6 minutes. During this same time, we then see a vehicle at the school near the stadium, first heading north at 3:47 a.m., near the same time the memorial is just beginning to fade out, seen here in this overhead view. A few moments later, we then see that same vehicle head south at 3:49, just minutes after the memorial is no longer illuminated. Then literally 2 minutes later, we see another vehicle heading south, leaving the cemetery at 3:51. We first see this vehicle in the cemetery located here in this overhead view. Then a few moments later, we can see it exiting the church parking lot at 3:53 a.m.
There is definitely at least 2 cars.
This vehicle was seen on 2 different cameras exiting the church and cemetery. Keep in mind, this is the only time we have seen a vehicle enter or exit the church and cemetery around this time frame on 25th and 26th. Now, what are the chances that 2 different vehicles would be seen exiting the cemetery and school 2 minutes apart at around 4 a.m. in the morning the night Sebastian Rogers disappeared?
So, this is a good time to address, because we got almost 1,000 people in here. And thank you to everybody taking your time out of your Saturday morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're at, to watch the show. So, to address what has been going on with law enforcement. So, if anybody hasn't been tuned in for like the past week, I sent a package over to a contact who then sends that over to certain law enforcement agency, because they have a working relationship. They have a good rapport with each other, right? So they're going to obviously take what they send to law enforcement more seriously because of that good rapport between these two. And yes, they had gotten response. Again, I can't say it was very short. I'm not going to say exactly what was said, but it was more along the lines of, thank you, we'll look into it. Obviously, they're not going to share any information, right? But they did acknowledge, yes, we got it, we appreciate it, we'll look into it. And then since then, I have sent 2 other videos, which is the one where I found the activity at the school, on the 25th, which was the first time, seeing something at the school, because we see stuff on the 26th, but, last week was the first time finding something at the school and cemetery on the 25th. And then yesterday, I found this, and then I sent this earlier today over to the same contact, who then sends this over to that contact in law enforcement. So yes, things are being done, and then again, we have other plans. So again, if law enforcement decides they don't want to take this seriously, then we are gonna just continue on with digging into this independently. We are multitasking every day, and there's so many people involved, but again, I can't get too specific. Again, there's a reason why I've been able to get this footage, get to where I'm at, because I've been trying to be as discreet as I can, right? I know everybody wants answers. I don't blame you. And everybody wants to be close and wants to be, in the circle. Again, it just, I am just one person, and I'm not perfect. And, this is, again, there's no, guidebook to how to, do this, especially as a YouTuber, right? But I promise you, they have been aware for quite a while. I've even heard that it's even possible they have been watching my show. Again, I don't know if that's 100% true or not. I would not be surprised. I'm not saying that they watch every live show, but maybe, they may get somebody message them, say, hey, so and so may have put something out that might be useful. Again, I'm just kind of spitballing, but yeah. I don't know, and I honestly, I would say please don't call schools or church. These people already know. And of course, I'd hope law enforcement. I know law enforcement's got the church surveillance, and clearly they have the school surveillance because they have Katie. So I think law enforcement has that stuff. I get what you're saying. I mean, believe me, if law enforcement's watching, if you want to send me the footage and I'll be more than happy to sign an NDA and help you guys for free behind the scenes. More than happy to. Send it over to me. I'll sign that NDA. I'll show nothing, obviously, because of an NDA. And I'll be more than happy to, do my part. Because holy shit. I promise you there's stuff on that footage. I don't blame them because they probably work in a bunch of different cases. But my God. I guarantee you there's footage they're sitting on that have the answers. I would bet the farm on it, in my opinion. All right, moving on. Kiki says, not to bother, is there any way you could do Silver's car on an aerial standpoint if you get a chance? I'd like to research. Standpoint. I kind of get what you're saying. I don't know if you could email Kiki and let me know a little bit more specific what you're asking for, and then I'll see what I can do. But thank you, Kiki, so much for the donation and support. Yeah, if you can email me the details of what you're kind of a little more specific. Thank you. Okay, so let's break this down with the overhead, right? Just to show you guys how much is going on. Just on the 25th, I wanted to do the 25th and 26th, but I felt like with how much we got here, even though I've shown the 26th, we're going to kind of focus on the 25th today because there's just so much, especially now with the new discovery here. And just kind of look at how much is going on just on one night alone, right? Shack Lady, if you can, try to, again, just be careful with the words. I agree. Just make it easier on my mods, but I agree. I agree, Shack Lady. And mods, you guys are so amazing. Thank you so much for the hard work you guys do. And please, if you haven't already, show some love to my mods. They do such amazing work, and it's not easy. I feel, yeah. Again, one of these months we'll do a mod appreciation. Okay. Sorry. Let me go back here and let me just get the full picture here, right? So this is just the 25th, right? So we're going to break down everything just on the 25th. Sorry to repeat myself. So it all starts at 3:24, more or less. Two things go on. We have something that's in the cemetery just beyond that triangle retention pond. I don't know, maybe a scout signaling or whatever. And then at the same time, 300 feet away, which isn't very far, we have the columbrium that lights up for 6 minutes. There's no way that's not a coincidence. Then just after that goes out, about 2 minutes after the columbrium fades out, we have a vehicle, which could have been the vehicle that had illuminated the columbrium up on the west end of the loop there. And it drives south. And again, I'll show this all overhead just in case you do not know where everything's at. Because I know looking at these black little dots and stuff, you know, can be confusing. So here is an overhead view of kind of everything going on and where they're positioned approximately. And just look at the small time frames that these things happen and how close they are together. Thank you, Cindy. That is so very sweet. You are so awesome. Thank you so much. And not that it's necessary. I do have a gold if you want to get Snarky Chris. I don't know why it's not counting some of these. We've definitely got more than 3. Well, we'll get Snarky Chris out here because I do have a few things to say at the end. So, but if you'd like to help support the channel, obviously there's multiple ways to do so. But anyway, so as you can see, just in this 8-minute window, let's see what happens from a top-down view. We have the columbrium light up for 6 minutes. At the same time that's beginning to light up, we have some kind of light source somewhere in this area. Again, I can't pinpoint exactly down to the foot, but somewhere in this area, which is a very interesting spot, right? Because we do have a road, but I think it dead ends. I don't know, unless someone wants to correct me and they've added and there's a loop, then that'd be very interesting. But either way, there's somewhere about right here. You can see the border of the cemetery, how it's not straight line. Obviously, it kind of cuts over a little bit. And then we have our vehicle at 3:32. So on an 8-minute time span, we have those 3 things alone going on.
So how do these puzzle pieces all fit together? First, we have to look at where the suspicious vehicles were seen on the 25th. Just after the memorial is lit up for 6 mins, we see a vehicle leave heading south at 3:32 a.m. It's possible this vehicle was the one to use its high beams to illuminate the gravesite as it was positioned east in the middle of the loop here, and in the process accidentally illuminate the memorial, perhaps using its lights to illuminate an area to prepare a hole or a grave. Then this vehicle leaves.
That's just Google. I mean, technically, some of this is satellite view.
Then a vehicle parks in the same area, but this time backs up into the gravesite, perhaps to haul some dirt or something else nefarious. Then when pulling forward to turn south, we see 2 headlights. Unlike the other lights we see, it's clear there is 2 balls of light, meaning this vehicle is likely facing west, in an area it shouldn't be unless it was backed in. This vehicle then goes south around the loop.
So just as how you see Silver's, but obviously instead of him backing up forward face, it would be him backed into the cemetery on the gravesite a little bit. And there is spots that are open that you can back into and pop out, especially in that little window that we can see headlights. But seeing 2 balls of light, again, I've mentioned this before, that is very interesting because at 3:32, we only see the 1 ball of light. And at 3:49, the same thing, we only see 1 ball of light, which you would expect seeing a car going north to south, side-faced, right? Even though obviously cars have 2 headlights. But if it's side-faced, we would just see 1 ball of light because they're just combined. But notice we see 2 balls of light, meaning that car is facing us. And again, that means it is coming out more or less of the gravesite in the middle up here. Why? And then then we add in the other discovery last week. Excuse me. Of the vehicle of the car at the school here. And I know it's a little hard to see. Again, this one was really hard to find, but this one, again, to me is huge because the timing of it. Notice it's going to show up right at 3:45 on the dot. And you know what's another coincidence? You're going to start to hear this. We see it for 2 minutes. Why is it that a lot of these things we see are for 2 minutes? Again, is that just a random coincidence, or is there something more to this 2 minutes, especially with these, what I call scouts? But again, that vehicle, we saw it at 3:45 till 3:47, and it's gone. 2 minutes. And what's wild, just like in the Columbrium, and this is all just on the 25th, just like how we saw the scout at near the retention pond and the Columbrium lighten up exactly almost at the same time. Well, the vehicle at 3:45 that's going to be leaving, coming out, facing us, and then turning south. At the same time, we have the vehicle at the school arrive for 2 minutes. Vehicle at the cemetery, and the school started at just a little after 3:45, and we'll stay until 3:47. So, yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. That would be interesting to look up. That's a great question. That is, yeah. Everybody's saying that. Is that a military thing? That is a great question. Again, there is a lot of 2 minute things. Well, there's like three or four more things that are 2 minutes that we'll go over. So there's that repeated. Now let's look at an overview of all of this activity, which is absolutely wild. So just a daytime shot again. And the other thing we figured out is there's at least 2 vehicles in the cemetery. And we figured that out by doing a static line. And 4 minutes later, we can see that truck. I'd assume it's a truck, car and a truck or something like that. Whatever it is, 2 different things. So now let's look at an overhead view of all this activity, just in case some people are kind of, not quite sure exactly where everything's positioned. And I'll show you guys so much going on. Girl mom, great question. I don't know who blocked that. I think that's a great question. I don't think that needed to be blocked, in my opinion. Yeah, why didn't Fish Sticks mention, maybe because you used the full name. Yeah, maybe just say Fish Sticks, Girl Mom, but yeah, I think that's okay. We try not to say full names, but anyway, I think in the chat it's not as a big deal. Why didn't Fish Sticks mention any of this activity? Girl Mom, 100%. I'd highlight the thing. Agreed. He had all this footage. Everything that I have, well, maybe not everything, but the footage that I've got, especially of all this, he had. He had this stuff. Again, it's something I've been meaning to mention in one of my short videos. And again, once this gets solved, fish sticks is on my shit list, and you bet your ass that's going to be exactly one of the main things I'm going to point out. You had all this footage, and what'd you do with it? Bliss wants that Snarky Chris to come out. Love Chris and Snarky Chris. You truly have the best months. I do. You know what? I really do. I'm so grateful for, especially when you got 1,000 people in here. It's not easy. I don't blame them. They do amazing work. Thank you, Chris, Silvers, and many others working behind the scenes to bring justice for Sebastian. Bring Sebastian home. 100% Bliss. Thank you so much. I don't know why it's not counting the goal, which is weird. So we'll have a Snarky Chris no matter what. Geneva, good to see you, sweetheart. Salute to the mods. Again, yeah, I agree. No worries, Bocas. Please don't apologize. Again, 1,000 people in here. No worries, guys. No worries. We're all human. We all make mistakes. Okay, so here's an overhead view, and just look at, again, we're just the 25th. Oh, I wanted to show this again. So there's our triangle retention pond here. Wait, no, that's not the right one. Actually, I didn't realize there was one right there. There's our triangle retention pond right there. So, yeah, that person's somewhere around in here. Columbrium's right here. Notice the bleachers are gone. And notice we can kind of see a little bit of, they're doing some renovations, some construction work. There's a reason why I point this out. I wanted to show this. Because you can kind of see, even though this part here isn't probably accurate, because they still hadn't tore this part up. But if I didn't have this in here, a lot of this is fairly accurate because it doesn't have the bleachers. And the reason I showed this is look how there's that road there. Now, I don't think that was 100% there on the night or, just after he went missing. I think it was probably close, but it just shows you that, yeah, you could easily, drive back in through in here and come in that way. Just wanted to point that out. But here we are, 3:24, 3:32, the time window. So again, I showed this before, but I want to show it all together here. So we have that activity, right, in an 8-minute time span. Then about 10 minutes later, a little over 12 minutes later. And again, that doesn't mean there isn't activity going on. We just don't see anything. I'm sure they're driving around in there. Again, this is all on the 25th. Then we have 3:45. We have a vehicle coming out of the gravesite, going south. Sorry, that car did not turn the way I wanted it to. It's in the wrong spot. I'm sorry. That's supposed to be on the road. But then we have a car over watching that as that had pulled out. Then 4 minutes later at 3:49, we have another vehicle. I'm just going to say truck. I don't know 100% if it's a truck, but we know that the lights, there's height difference between the two lights. So we know that there's definitely two vehicles, one being taller than the other. And that vehicle also is it not only is it higher, but that's the one that does the ramp up, which tells me that likely came out just like the 3:45 one. came out of the gravesite, because we see the light kind of ramp up and get distorted. So again, are they hauling some dirt? Are they getting something ready? And again, it could be, yes, it's a possibility that Sebastian could be in there somewhere in the cemetery. It's also possible that they were going to get rid of certain electronics or evidence, right? So any, not just Sebastian. It could be, again, electronics or other evidence that was used to incapacitate, or whatever was used in the abduction. So again, all of that we know of, right here, all of that, just on one night. All of this. Definitely 2 vehicles in the cemetery driving around. Columbarium lit up for 6 minutes. This thing lights up the same time that this thing lights up. When this vehicle pulls out at 3:45, this thing lights up. Vehicle's sitting there watching. It's almost like you've got a scout here, kind of making sure there's nothing going on at the new development, nobody coming out of their homes. And then you have a car at the school, because obviously to the north is just farm and a gate and barbed wire. Yeah, I think you're pretty closed in there, so you don't have to worry. I don't think you have to worry too much about up at the upper part of the construction, because obviously it's open, and nobody should be in that area. And then obviously there's only one way into the entrance to the cemetery, so it's kind of interesting, the position of what I would call the scouts. They would be in the spots that you would expect them to be, where there could be potential, looky-loos driving by. Obviously it's 3 a.m., but it is interesting that those are in the areas that could be somebody coming. Because obviously to the north, again, like I said, you really don't have anything to worry about up here or here, right? Even though, here, let me change that. Be a little bit more accurate. So obviously everything up here, you're really not going to worry about, but you may be worried about, people in these homes here, and then obviously the school. And what are the odds you have, possibly a scout here and a scout at the school here, while you have activity going on here, right? And that's just on the 25th. Wait until we break down the 26th, which will be in the next show. But yeah. Oh, believe me, Sandy Beaches, 100%. I agree. But I will say, like I said, I've heard through the rumor mill, that a certain law enforcement agency may be watching, I'm sure they're not tuned in on every live, but I've heard that they tune in to certain things. Allegedly. And I would say to them, just one more time, send the footage to me. I'll send the NDA. Just like that. I'll do it for free. Be more than happy to look at your footage for free. NDA signed. Won't say a word. And I will find what you guys have overlooked. I'm sure it's not on purpose. I'd hope not. But I guarantee there's stuff on surveillance that's been heavily overlooked. Black Widow, good to see you. Thank you so much for over 2 years of support. You've been a major supporter of this channel for so long. God bless you. Happy New Year to you and your family. Yeah, I'm telling you, Julie, this is nonsense. He didn't walk anywhere. Yeah, Dad. Yeah, I'm not even going to get started on that. He did not walk out of that house. There's, again, unless he knows how to turn invisible. Again, he didn't walk out of that house on his own volition. He isn't wandering around. But I will say this, because I'm sure we also have, not only do we have possibly maybe some law enforcement watching, but I'm sure the people responsible, I'm sure some of those people are watching as well. And I would just say, if you would like to email me your address, I'd be more than happy to send you some pull-ups. Because I'm sure you're going to need them. And then when, not if, but when you get arrested, I'll be definitely sending you some pull-ups. Because you're definitely going to need them then.
What do you see now?
During the control tests,
because they don't take kindly to people that harm children. So, once again, for those that have been responsible, I'll be more than happy. Send me your address. I'll send you some pull-ups. It's kind of a, I wouldn't say inside joke, but that's kind of an inside, you know. If you know, you know. You monsters. You monsters.
Silvers on the Scene and others tried many different things to illuminate the memorial in the same way we saw it on surveillance, but every test, including driving next to it, parking near it, using headlights and other objects such as flashlights, just would not create that same illumination effect until on day 2, Silvers on the Scene did this.
Okay, to document where I'm at, come in the cemetery this way, go around, it loops around. I took the turn right here and
During Silver's control test, he parked on the west end, in the middle of the loop, seen here on this map. He had turned his car towards the memorial. When doing this, he figured he would try and turn on his high beams, as nothing so far had worked up to this point. Upon doing this, he illuminated the memorial just as it was seen in the surveillance. Here was his reaction.
Okay, to document where I'm at, come in the cemetery this way, go around, it loops around. I took the turn right here and I've come down to where I'm sitting right here. So watch this. Of course, when my light's off, you can't see anything. If I turn my lights on, I can see just graves and grass. But imagine for a moment that somebody was there and said, hey, I can't see. Turn your high beams on. Of course, it opens up the whole area. I see more. And what do I see? The monument.
Oh.
And they're telling me they can see it on the camera.
Yeah, that was a car going off crazy. That's why you mentioned that. Yeah, that was a car that got set off twice. I don't think it's related. It is obviously. What was that on the 20? Yeah, that was on the 26th. I think after the 3M lights would have happened. But that is interesting that did happen. But yeah, I don't, as far as I know, I don't think it's connected, but you never know. But that's interesting you mentioned that.
Just like the footage we've been looking at. Boom!
This spot Silvers is sitting at is the same spot where the two vehicles seen on the 25th were exactly positioned. And what's even more crazy is the fact that one of the vehicles at 3:45 a.m. appeared to have come out of the gravesite in that same spot Silvers was parked, as if they had been backed in, then pulled out and turned south. Before we put all the pieces together, let's go over the night of the 26th. Sometime around 3:10 a.m., the suspicious flashlights in Rogers' neighborhood are seen along with an unknown vehicle doing...
So, for those that are responsible in some form or fashion behind Sebastian's disappearance, I will tell you that there is some footage out there that I will get. Well, I don't want to say I will get, but it's a pretty high possibility that I will obtain it at some point, hopefully sooner than later. If I do, it's game over. Now, I don't want to say game over. I guess I don't want to say game over, but I would say it's going to answer a lot of questions, and people want to know what time this happened. I will be able to tell you in a heartbeat the second I get this footage. And I pray to God a certain individual sends it over, because if they do, I will know. I will find out exactly when this happened.
...a 3-point turn. Not long after, activity at the cemetery begins to happen, where we see the memorial light up again for 6 minutes. During this same time, we then see a vehicle at the school near the stadium, first heading north at 3:47 a.m., near the same time the memorial is just beginning to fade out, seen here in this overhead view. A few moments later, we then see that same vehicle head south at 3:49, just minutes after the memorial is no longer illuminated. Then literally 2 minutes later, we see another vehicle heading south, leaving the cemetery at 3:51. We first see this vehicle in the cemetery located here in this overhead view. Then a few moments later, we can see it exiting the church parking lot at 3:53 a.m.
Yeah, the second they decided to do this, there was a timer, a timer was set off. And again, it looks like they got 2 years, right? But it is all going to come crashing down. It is inevitable in this day and age with, technology, GPS, surveillance. One thing I can't think of the word, it's blanking my mind at the second, but yeah, there's just too much that they, seems like they planned this out pretty well, but again, there's no perfect crime. They screwed up, and yeah. I like that. Yeah.
This vehicle was seen on 2 different cameras exiting the church and cemetery.
Yeah, we
Keep
can.
in mind, this is the only time we have seen a vehicle enter or exit the church and cemetery around this time frame on 25th and 26th.
We can do kind of a group, not GoFundMe, but some kind of thing where we all get together and order them some adult Depends or pull-ups for them. So they know how it feels, right? And
now,
they'll probably need them
anyway.
anyway.
That 2 different vehicles would be seen exiting the cemetery and school 2 minutes apart at around 4 a.m. in the morning the night Sebastian Rogers disappeared.
So here's the other thing. This is the reason I wanted to play this last part. Here's another 2-minute difference, right? When they finish up on the 26th,
time the memorial is just beginning to fade out.
Sorry, let me turn myself down. After on the 26th, right? Columbium lights up. Then we see activity at the school and cemetery. Once again, it's a 2-minute difference between when the vehicle at the school leaves and when the vehicle at the cemetery leaves. Exactly almost 2 minutes to the dot. And it arrives 2 minutes and then comes back 2 minutes. Just one vehicle. Which is weird. And then when it leaves at 3:49, at 3:51, the vehicle at the cemetery then leaves. So again, there's so many connections to this 2 minutes. It's so weird. Again, yeah, is it a military thing? I mean, I've never heard of that. It sounds kind of weird, but well, I wouldn't say weird, but you know, it's interesting. Again, there just more coincidences. There's just so many. At one point, it's just like, no, there was definitely you know, some kind of plan that they prepared the night before. Maybe even, you know, obviously I'm sure there was definitely some heavy premeditation even before the 25th and 26th, and then, you know, got things ready on the 25th. And again, you could look at it two different ways. You could say maybe he is out there at the cemetery or around the cemetery, or maybe they had two plans. Maybe they thought, okay, maybe we might put him in the cemetery, and then on the night when they took him, maybe they decided, no, let's just exchange him. And so they went to the cemetery and they traded him off to another vehicle and then moved him somewhere else. Right. Just to keep an open mind. So there's definitely a lot of possibilities. Who was the shadow man at 1217? Kitty. We've talked about that. It's the guy walking his dog. I've gone over that. Just in case if you missed it, I've gone over that in a previous live multiple times. It's the guy that comes out, walks his dog. You can see it. He comes out of his house. His light turns on. He walks down Devon Court. Then he comes back, and then he walks down Killen about halfway, and then he goes back to his home. If Fish Sticks wasn't lying, because he's a piece of shit and he's a sociopath, he says that he spoke to every single person in the neighborhood. That's bullshit. He clearly didn't talk to that guy, because if he would have talked to that guy, he would have known that, yeah, this guy likes to take his dog a certain route basically every day. Anyway. Yeah, that's old news. Oh, thank you, Suzanne. I appreciate that so much. So,
but this time backs
before we finish, I'll
gravesite,
recap just a
to haul
few,
some
just in
dirt
case
or
we
something
came in
else
late.
nefarious. Then when pulling forward to turn south, we see two headlights. Unlike the other lights we see, it's clear there is two balls of light, meaning this vehicle is likely facing west, in an area it shouldn't be unless it was backed in. This vehicle then goes south around the loop.
Oh. I don't know. That's tough to tell, Kiki.
There was at
I
least
see what
two
you're
different
looking
vehicles
at
on the 25th shown here, with the different headlight heights. Also, you can see that 4 minutes later, another vehicle, likely
if I wasn't on a time crunch right now, I will pull that up next time, Kiki, and we'll take a closer look. As I say, closer look in the video. That's funny. Was a signal for someone. What time was Uber? Uber was at 3:30, right? Yeah, Uber is at 3:30. Yeah, Kitty. Michelle After Dark. There's a reason why I released that footage, so Michelle After Dark could go and look at it. She can pull it on Michelle After Dark. Go to my Patreon, pull the 1 hour footage, do your due diligence, look at it. You can see the guy coming out of his house like 2 minutes before. I've said this 1,000 times. He walks down Devon. Then he goes down Killen about halfway to where that car is at. He does a 180 because the dog is probably done. It's his normal routine. You know how dogs are. They have their certain paths they go. He goes down Devoncourt. He goes down Killen to about the car. He turns around. Then he goes down Devon the other side. And then he comes back. And then he goes back in the home. And you can see it all. Give it up. Oh my gosh. Do you really want to find Sebastian or not? Like, stop it. Oh my gosh. Stop. You don't care about Sebastian. Yeah, now you're getting snarky, Chris. I cannot stand these people that are just for clicks and views. That have been driving this stupid thing that I knew the second it was released, I had the answer. And I didn't even have the footage where it showed him going back into the home. Because if I would have had that, then I would have blasted fish sticks even 1,000 times harder. Again, his time will come, but first we need to find Sebastian. But my God, it doesn't surprise me. Leave it alone. Oh my gosh. I guess, yeah, just keep doing that. I'm sure you will find Sebastian if you keep harping on that footage. I'm sure you will find the answers. Holy Christ on a cracker. Miriam, thank you, Chris, for your amazing work. Thank you so much. Anything else I can answer? Preach, Chris. Yeah, I don't want to get. I know people like snarky Chris, but at the same time, it's not my. That is not me. But plus, especially if potential law enforcement's watching, I just want to make sure I get to the facts, and actual evidence. Because again, if this kid went to the retention pond, I can see stuff that's going on nearly 500 yards beyond the retention pond. I can see a squirrel. The next live, I'm going to write this down. I shit you not. I see a squirrel or it's a rabbit, one of the two. I can literally see it in the middle of the construction zone at 3 a.m., between 3 a.m. and 3:30. I can see it. If I can see a squirrel, you would think I'd be pretty easy. I could see Sebastian walking through the construction site. I will show that squirrel / rabbit because again, I'm not sure what it is, but you can see it walking in the middle. But again, I guess if you're making money, I right? I don't know. I hate to call out a certain channel because that's just not. I'd rather take the high road.
Shown here with the different headlight heights.
It's
Also,
just not helping finding
4
Sebastian.
minutes
It's
later,
not.
Another vehicle, likely a truck, was seen moving south. But what's interesting is the way the light gets distorted upwards. Here, take a closer look.
You'll get one eventually. Anyway, okay, so let's just recap real quick and then finish up. If you came in late, and again, I appreciate we've had nearly 1,000 people in here almost the entire time. If you missed what I found, I'll just go over it one more time. It is this right here. Oh, wait, no, that's Columbrium. The next live, again, I'm going over some other things that I've discovered. I'm not sure. Again, it's just like what I have here. I still have to vet it. But if you missed it, here it is one last time. This is just beyond the triangular retention pond that borders the cemetery and the new development. And it lights up for about 2 minutes, but it starts at 3:24, which is very fascinating because it is the same time the Columbrium lights up as well. So as we fast forward here, just to kind of show you how I figured out where this is at approximately. I can't narrow it down to the feet, but let me do this other overlay. As you can see, just using basic geometry and math. Gotta love math. That was one of the few subjects that I was good at. We draw a straight line. Obviously, houses are built at right angles. So we just take the back angle of the home that we can see here, which is this one here. We just draw a straight line of the way it was built. And we know that that light is to the left of it, because originally I thought it was a light on the home in one of these homes, because it kind of just looks like somebody just turned their light on, and they kicked it off, right? Went to the kitchen or whatever, grabbed themselves a drink of water or whatever. But then again, once I did the line, then I realized, oh, this is way beyond where the home is at. And then to get kind of the height right, then I looked at some daytime and nighttime. And so here's the daytime, and we're going to see a vehicle that's at the construction site. And they're basically using the Willow Bend Drive, even though it's not completely 100% paved and everything. It is basically what would become Willow Bend Drive. And that light source is going to be right above that. And right above that is the retention pond. And so, Katie, what are you doing? Hey, you got your windows up. Katie, come back. You got your... I tried. Anyway, so as you can see, that light is just above where that road is. Which tells us that that is just beyond above the retention pond, which would mean it's in the cemetery. And then I also overlaid where the vehicle on the 26th is leaving the church. So obviously we know that it's got to be somewhere in this approximate area, which is very interesting because it's about 300 feet, give or take, from the Columbrium. And here is me overlaying the 26 car that's leaving the cemetery towards the church. And we know that that's just below the road there. I know it's kind of hard to see. There's the light. You can see it. Again, since it's an overlay, it's going to be really hard to see. But that's the path of it. And if we switch to negative, you can see a little bit better. Right there as it moves, and there's that light. So we know that this bad boy is approximately somewhere in that area. So that is very interesting. I think that is a scout, in my opinion, until we figure out more. That's a great comment, Donna. And sadly, that is probably the truth. Sadly. Oh, at least okay. That's very sweet. Hopefully, there's always a chance he could be alive out there, and there's wonderful people looking into that angle. Many people. I had to get a little snarky, even though my counter's broken. I mean, people have donated, and it still says I only have 3 donations. I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, I don't see any Venmos or PayPals. So if by chance you did and I didn't get an update, thank you in advance, and I'll thank you. I think we should have a live tomorrow, and I will have a new pet outro. It's only because I found something new that takes precedence over everything. But I have the pets ready because people have sent in, and this is for the members only. Yeah, I'm gonna play a pet outro, the old one, but I'm gonna add new pets. I'm gonna start doing the rotation thing where I have a rotation of pet outros. Thank you, Bo. Although that's so sweet of you. Yeah, don't you be talking about my truck. Don't you dare. Anyway, one more time. anyway, for those responsible, all we need is an address. We'll come together. We'll get you guys some really good dependables, depends, pull-ups, whatever you need. So, anyway, guys, thank you guys so much taking the time out of your night to watch the show. I hope you guys got some more information out of this. Last thing I'll say is, again, I'm not going to say which law enforcement agency is communicating, but they are. So, and I know a lot of people don't have, much faith in them, and I don't blame you. But if that doesn't work out, we are already working on plan B, C, D, E, F. I promise you, it is already in the works. We are got so many different angles. I think it would look pretty embarrassing if we are doing law enforcement's job. Just in case one of you guys are watching. I think it'd be pretty embarrassing if we start doing your guys' job. Come on. I understand that you guys only have so many man hours, so many cases you're working on, but come on. So, all right. Dependables. I don't know. I got dependables out. Anyway. All right, guys. I'm going to do a pet outro. Thank you so much for the love and support. As always, you guys are amazing. And with that, I feel like there's one other thing I wanted to say, but I can't think of it right now. But yeah, should be back live tomorrow. And yes, new pet outro. It should be ready by tomorrow. So, yes, justice for Sebastian. God bless you guys. Much love. Thank you, mods. God bless you guys. I know that's a lot of work for nearly 1,000 people. God bless you, and I can't wait to do a member or a mods appreciation because you guys are amazing. Oh, I haven't got it yet, but thank you, Gail, in advance so much. God bless you. I have not seen it yet. Again, I have ACs above me, so sometimes I don't get the notification until like I move around or something. All right, guys, I'm gonna play the outro. Any music that you hear, I have now put it in the description, just in case if you're curious about the music. With that, we'll see you guys tomorrow. God bless you guys.
I got you in my sight. I keep all the words you said to me. I get you on your knees. Rewrite all the things you said that I should be. I'll get you, now you beg me please. Hey, now I'll stay away. You were never you're sorry. Hate they even love you, hate they fell in love with you. Hate they even loved you, hate they kinda fell in love with you.